Welcome to week 6 of what is now the Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades devlog. It's our last one before early access release, so I've got some new stuff to show you that we're in the process of getting polished up and ready for you to play with on the 5th. We're going to start off in the indoor range. Oh, you might notice we have a main menu now. This can be accessed from any of the other scenes in the experience with the touchpad menu. Just mouse over or thumb over main menu and pull the trigger. Cool, so let's jump on over to the indoor range. Excellent. Over to the indoor range. Let's go ahead and do our sound check as usual with our brand new handgun this week, the Russian TT30. So I'm about to make a loud sound. Make sure your speakers aren't turned up too high. Here we go. Cool. If that wasn't too loud for you, you should be good. So, let's actually take a look at this. I wanted to have, I've had a couple requests this week for, a handgun that didn't look like a Nerf gun. So, managed to find this beautiful model on the Unity Asset Store and adapted it. It was the most delightful one to work with yet because it actually has all of its interior detail in it. So, another thing's actually implementing a realistic handgun. In addition to sort of releasing the slide catch, you can now hold it up, like so. So you can totally pull it back, lock it, load, and then release. Awesome. So, as you can see in the scene, we've got a paper target here. This is dynamic. We actually put bullet holes in this, and we've got a pad here for entering in the range that we want to shoot at. So I can put in here, let's say 15 feet, and then hit the dot to send it down range. All right, let's take some shots. Ugh. Barely passable at this range. And let's bring it back. Basically hit X, 0, dot. At least they're all in the black. And if you want to actually see your tabulated score, just tap the score sheet here, and it will clear the bullet holes off, and you'll get your total. Let's send that out a bit further. Awesome. This will basically go out to about 98 feet. Wanted to make sure it encapsulated, 25 yards or 25 meters. And let's take a look at something else I did this week. Let's load this up. Is actually got the amplifier for the M4, as I've been repeatedly told this past week. I should be calling this an M4, despite the lack of, the third pin actually showing that this has an auto-sear in it. Is our optic now actually, if I can get one good clean shot here, hits where we're pointing at it. And that's basically because this unrealistically now zeroes and aims at whatever you're aiming the weapon at. Once I get a more complex optic that actually with some fiddly bits on it and such, that in the future I'll actually have one that you'll have to manually adjust, but for now I wanted to make sure there was a baseline that actually simply pointed at whatever you were pointing at with the rifle. Let's stabilize ourselves. Cool. Let's bring that back. Not bad at all. 10 shots, 98 points. Awesome. So yeah, I'm, truth be told, I'm not quite sure exactly how I'd like to expand the scene. If you happen to partake in indoor shooting ranges and happen to have any suggestions, I am all ears. Especially once you try this out and you're like, there should be some shelves here or what have you, or if you'd like this area to be a back table with a selection of things, do let me know. Wonderful, so let's pop on over to our next scene. Awesome. So here we are in that arcade prototype scene I was showing off last week. It's been adjusted. I sort of rewrote the spawning behavior of the enemies and such, and added something that, well, basically, you can play this with the realistic loading at the moment, but because this is sort of an arcade first start, it's very difficult, and it's been largely designed for these, which are our golden magazines, which, as you'll see here, loud sound incoming. Quite ridiculous, but you'll see with how difficult this is that you're going to need it. For now, you can give it a shot with the manual reloading, and I'll show you a way to make it a little bit easier to begin with. But this scene, at least for the next week or two, is going to be largely tuned for, you know, the gold magazines, because it's just lots of targets coming at you. So what do I mean by helping you out with the reloading? Basically, I've modified the quick belt system, which, if you didn't see from last week, we can basically hover over a quick belt area with an object and drop it in. But what we can now do is pop it in, and then while hovering over it, hit touchpad click, and it will lock it. What this locking does is allows me to grab new magazines out of that slot. So if you say want to try to play this with full reloading, you can have this available here, or we can unlock it and we could put it right up there for a quick pull out. Oops. There we go. From the front. Excellent. So yeah. So those are the big changes for this week. There's a whole bunch of other subtle stuff. This past week has been largely about bug testing and making sure that everything is stable and runs smoothly for the release on the 5th. So yeah, so I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage of me playing the arcade here. I personally love to play with an auto pistol in one hand and the rifle in the other if I'm going gold mag. Otherwise, I tend to play with the rifle and just load my chest up with mags, so it's easier to pull them off. So can't wait to have you guys give it a shot on the 5th. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment here or on the Reddit thread. See you in here.